fiercely pursuing accountability on policy and implementation. It's time for another DJL7 candidate interview.
Yo, check it out. It's your boy DJL7, and as you know, I'm interviewing every single person running for elected position here in New York City. I have one of the candidates with us right here, but he's of special interest. We're going to get to that in a moment, yeah? But go ahead, I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
How you doing? My name is Matthew Morgan. I'm running for City Council, District 39 in Brooklyn, which represents Western Brooklyn, Park Slope, Gowanus, and some other boroughs as well, and some other areas as well.
So what's that, like maybe like North Brooklyn, West Brooklyn? I don't know. What did you call that?
Yeah, it's Western Brooklyn.
Okay.
It's near Barclays Center,
yeah,
Prospect
I know that.
Park,
yeah,
that area.
So that's cool, man. All right, so what is like, okay, so my channel is mostly devoted to activism, right? Yeah?
Okay.
So do you have like maybe activist background, or how'd you get involved in this whole political thing?
Yeah, so I'm actually the chair of the Brooklyn Libertarian Party.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of activism in the city, what I'm really passionate about is housing, making the housing market much more of a free market instead of regulated. My position is to abolish zoning, which seems a little radical, but I really think it's important that we're able to build as much housing as we need in the city to house everybody at an affordable price.
Interesting.
So,
do you know Lou Cespedes or Victoria Cambrain or something like that? Do you know them?
Not off the top of my head, no.
They actually, I think, are really interested in working on zoning as well. So there are other city candidates that are running for office. So that's cool, man. And by the way, you were of special interest because of that whole libertarian thing, yeah?
Correct.
I've been a Green Party member for over 20 years, but honestly, the Libertarian Party is really appealing to me more than ever with the, government clampdowns on free speech, with the government clampdowns on with censorship rising its head. I think the Libertarian Party is particularly relevant at this moment, yeah?
I've always think we've always been relevant for, we've been around as a party since 1971. And I mean, if you look at a lot of the issues that people are talking about now, even though we don't have any, major politicians, in Congress or anything else, a lot of the stuff we've been fighting for is what people are, talking about now. In 1971, we were pro-gay marriage. 1971, we were talking about not militarizing the police. 1971, all these things that now people are like, those are the progressive issues. And just like, okay, your progress is a little slower than ours, but okay, you're there.
Feel you on that, yeah. So, all right, that's cool, man. So, look, we're going to get to like the questions about your general policies later, but I have like a bunch of groups that I work with, yeah? So I'm going to ask like some positions related to some of these groups that I work with. So one of them is going to be Assange. How do you feel about Assange? You ready to free Assange?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely very pro freeing Assange. Obviously in the beginning when, it's funny how he kind of switched, right, as a hero to a villain, depending on who the information he was releasing it on.
Yeah.
So at first Democrats were like, oh, we should free Assange, and then he released all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, he's a villain.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, first of all, he didn't do anything except create a website that posted information.
Don't release that truth over there. You could release the truth about those guys.
Right, exactly.
But about us? Oh my God. Yeah, okay. I like that call. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, okay, another
So that's my position. Free Assange, free Snowden, and I forget his name right now, but the guy who created the Silk Road, that's a big one for libertarians. He should be freed as well for not doing anything.
All those cats, bro. Definitely love that, yeah? What about, let's see, okay, then what about UBI? Where do you stand on UBI?
UBI, it's a very interesting topic, especially for libertarians who are against, well, not against the welfare state, but it's very bloated, it's very ineffective. There's definitely proof that it keeps people poor, that it's not so much a crutch as it is kind of a ceiling. Like if you're getting welfare, the goal is to keep you on welfare.
Maybe more like chains than ceiling.
Right.
More like chains than a ceiling, because it's holding you down. Yeah.
So Yes. So if you try and get a job while you're on welfare, they start cutting, they cut your welfare, and then you're making less than you were before. So you're almost encouraged not to get a job. So you've seen UBI as a transition away from the welfare state. It's definitely, so as a libertarian, obviously, there's a lot of libertarians out there like destroy this, cut this, get rid of this. But then there's people like a lot of libertarians, especially in the big city, who understand that government is needed, and that we should just try and repeal it and make it smaller, and stop the waste and everything. So I see UBI as if we shifted to UBI away and then just got completely rid of everything else. That's something that would be attractive because it'd be less expensive, and the money would be going directly into people's hands to spend how they want.
Have you ever heard of a study? Have you ever heard of a study called Rat Utopia?
I have not.
There was this interesting study where they gave the rats enough food and enough bedding, right? But they were cramped in space, so they had to eat together, right? Yeah. What the results of that study were? They gave them enough food, everything. What do you think happened? Societal collapse. Societal collapse. Every single rat died. There was not one that was savable. Even their offspring, every single one died. Yeah. That's Rat Utopia.
Interesting.
Yeah. So sometimes, right? Yeah. And a lot of times, right, things that are built supposedly like affordable housing in New York City, right? Yeah. Under the guise of projects that are supposed to help the poor are weaponized against the poor. So, right. It's very important. Implementation is key. You know what I mean? And also, you can't just broadly say, oh, that's a good general idea, and then use that to green light all kinds of madness that gets twisted into. So,
right.
I do appreciate a critical look at some of these real issues that are going on, because there is no magic bullet out there. It's not oh my, no. We passed this and all of a sudden heaven came down to earth. You know what I mean? Because some people
right.
seem to be of that opinion. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that nuance. Okay, let's move on to the next. We have people with disabilities, and one thing is that people with disabilities, they are paid sub minimum wage. But would you support people with disabilities? Because if you look at minimum wage, it's like a subsistence wage. You know what I mean? And people with disabilities, would you support minimum wage being applicable to people with disabilities?
As the libertarian,
I get that. I see the fight here, but this is something I've agreed to do for all these groups. By the way, if you have an issue too, right? Yeah, that you want to address to all the candidates, I can do that for you. That's one of the cool things about what I'm doing right here. So, but look, this is, and I am sympathetic to that as well. I'm sure you naturally are as well, right? But then, I get the libertarian angle. So good, but it's your choice, right? As a libertarian, you get to do, and you get to personally have whatever position you want. I get the libertarian angle on it too, though, but and it is enforcing the rules on other people that they don't have an option for. So,
of course, yeah.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah.
Woo!
So,
Catch. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, I guess it really depends on what type of disabilities that we're talking about. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you aren't talented, that there isn't, a plethora of things that you can't contribute to society. So I guess on a case-by-case basis is how I'd have to look at it.
Okay.
Honestly, it comes down to, minimum wage. It's it's a good train. I feel like if we got rid of minimum wage, it'd be a good way to train people. The bad way is that a lot of people are, people who are young people.
Yeah.
Some people who are young and don't have work experience aren't able to be hired because, they don't have the skills to be paid, a certain wage. Some people look at that like it's bad, but we all started at the bottom. In the working world. So you have to prove your worth. And I think, I've always thought minimum wage was kind of for kids, but the problem is that there's millions of people out there who are at minimum wage. And I don't think we should try and increase that wage. I think we should try and create an economy that has better paying jobs for these people who have skills to get those jobs instead of raising this pay level for these jobs.
I'm not mad at that, right? I still like minimum wage. I still think, but I'm not. I get your position, And I thank you for being honest about it. I mean, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So the next one I'm going to move on to is the people who are in the trans community. Yeah. So people in the trans community, what happens is that laws could be passed, right, that say that people who are trans, right, cannot be discriminated against, right? But they move into public housing, right? Often they're the most discriminated against, and then they can face harassment or things like that cause them to move out. But it's not really documented, or it's not really easy to tell who did it necessarily. Maybe they got jumped, by some hooded guys, whatever. So what can we do for that community?
Well, I think the best way. The thing is, it's very hard for when government. There's sometimes there's really not laws. There's not rules that you can make. The best way is to just, especially as somebody with a platform, especially a politician, just to draw attention to the problem, to inform people, about this community. Hey, these are people.
What if I bounce off some ideas that have been proposed before, and maybe maybe they'll put you, maybe they won't. So one of them was that if there is, and there's arguments against this as well, but if we can prove that there's a certain number of underrepresentation of trans people in the public housing system, then maybe some certain area be set aside specifically for them, so that they can really have, right? But here's the problems, right? Yeah, they may have kids, and those kids might not be trans, and then they're living in that housing. And also another problem is that it could be seen as discrimination, right? Like we're forcing them all into this ghetto, you know what I mean? So it's, but but that's a way to maybe assure that the numbers are kind of matching up. So where do you feel about that type of solution?
It seems like something where it's very well intentioned, but it could easily go wrong. But the thing is, I have great sympathy for the trans community. I think they've been, the prejudice against them is probably the most rampant right now. And I think that just comes down to a lot of people just not understanding. And the people who do the stories just have very biased and very disgusting type angles.
So I appreciate your stand on that.
People want to join men's sports. Like some people just want to live their fucking lives, and they should be able to live their lives how they want.
I like that, man. So just if more people was honestly like that, I think we have real chill community. So I like that, man. And that's sometimes it's just being a role model, you know what I mean? So that's cool, exactly. Man. You know what I mean? So we'll find a way to make it work, yeah? But okay, let's move on to some of the topics, right, that are at hand. So let's talk about okay. So there's certain things that the city takes care of, there's certain things that the state takes care of, right? Yeah? So let's talk about one of the things that's kind of a hot topic right now is the police, right? Defund the police, whatever, yeah? Where do you, police reform, where do you stand on that whole thing?
Well, I'm very in favor of reforming the police and the criminal justice system. I wouldn't say I'm on board with defund the police, because as a libertarian, I just want to heavily defund everything. So
that's what I would think. Yeah. So I was like, that's interesting, but okay. Yeah. So go ahead. Oh, but not specifically that one versus everything else. Well, to tell you the truth, I've been working.
A lot of things.
I'll tell you my position afterwards. You don't get to cheat. Yeah. I'll tell you. Yeah, but you take your position. Good luck. Yeah. I'll tell you afterwards. I swear to you. Yeah. My position is already public on my channel. Yeah.
Okay. So, the thing is, I feel like as libertarian, obviously, there's a lot of over militarization of the police. I think that we should get rid of, criminalizing drugs in favor of, promoting things like mental health. I don't feel like people, but at the same time, I think police should be focusing on things that are a real issue, like, murder, rape, stuff like that. Not, somebody jaywalking or somebody, smoking weed. I don't think that's a good use of their time. I don't think them policing people on bicycles for riding on the sidewalk when the streets are dangerous is a good use of their time. And a bunch of other stuff I just feel like is a waste of their time. So I feel like they should be defunded because we're spending money for them to do things that I don't think they should be doing. And then on top of that, I feel like people who are in prison, who we spend a lot of money to keep in prison, should be released if they're in there for nonviolent crimes. I feel like, if you're in there for doing drugs of any kind, you should be released immediately, and all that should be expunged from your record. If you're in jail for anything involving sex work, you should be released immediately, and all of that should be expunged from your record.
What up, man? You see the shirt back here?
I was trying to read it, but I couldn't make it out.
It says, "Never mistake aloha for weakness." Does that mean anything to you?
That third word got me.
Never mistake aloha for weakness. Yeah.
What's aloha?
That's like
hello?
That's like hello, goodbye, peace, maybe
Hawaiian.
something like that. Yeah. It's
Okay.
Hawaiian. Yeah. So Tulsi Gabbard, as you know, she's very kind of like in the libertarian community. Kind of. What do you think about that?
She does have a lot of
ties.
There's there's a lot of people in the libertarian. For instance, there's a guy.
All the things you just said about police
Pressman's
reform,
campaign.
right? It's a 100% lineup right there. You get what I mean? So that was cool, man. So you guys could see that right away. So of course, man, I love you guys. By the way, shout out right now to, by the way, we're gonna tag him. We're gonna get you some press right now. Holla out at my boy Reed Coverdale. I don't know if you've seen him, right? Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Holla out the Jackman brothers. Holla out my boy Lone Wolf podcast. You know what I mean? And holla out Pink Flame of Liberty. We just did an interview with her just now. So. You know what I mean? We just talked about you. I was like, Matt Morgan, my man.
Do you know,
yeah.
You know David Fight?
I do, yes, the Tulsi guy. Yeah,
Okay.
You could ask him about me. He'll say I'm a damn madman, but he'll say that I work my ass off and I'm a goddamn beast in the game, yeah? And he'll say that you want me on your team, but don't cross me, boy. I tell you, man. But I love David. Yeah, David's a cool guy. And tell him that I got his back. That's my homie, yeah? All right, anyways, yeah, so let's, so the thing is that, right,
we should also plug votemorgan.nyc as well.
Well, yeah, okay. So, actually, one of my guys who also was in the Tulsi campaign here in New York City, I don't know if you know Siraj. I think he's running a libertarian ticket in Queens.
Joswell.
Yeah. Oh, you know him. Oh, great. Yeah.
I was actually just talking to him.
Well, that's wonderful.
An event May 1st.
He's been telling me about
Heights.
that. Yeah. I might appear there. I don't know.
Awesome.
We'll see. I'm pushing him. I'm pushing him to provide value for me. I'm the negotiator, man. Businessman.
He spoke at the NYC Libertarian Convention. He's a good guy. I like him.
We'll see. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like Siraj. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Yeah. All right. So the thing is that we talked about the police reform thing. Honestly, I've been in the organizations that I'm with. I'm not really the biggest fan of defund the police because you know why? Because the problem isn't really with the funding. It's with accountability, and it's where they put the money. You're right. Yeah. Because really the police have become like a revenue generating stream, right, where they send out people to tax people, right? But the thing is that the crimes that are going on at the top, where are the arrests, man? Where Epstein, like they let him die? Come on, man, you get smacked right now. You guys are full of shit. You know what I mean? Come on, man. So, you know, just there needs to be some accountability as well. And if you guys took the money and restructured it to like make it work, I would be thankful. You know what I mean? It's not about defunding, it's about being accountable. So, you know,
because there's a lot of people in these communities who want them around, who feel safe with them there.
And the military the militarization is a waste of money. You're goddamn right. It's stupid. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't want those people to feel unsafe.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to the next one over here. Let's take a look at reopening. Yeah. People want to know when their lives are going back to normal. So you're in city council, right? You have a possibility of actually affecting, right, the policy. What's your thoughts on reopening? Timeline, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. When are we going back to normal, bro?
Yeah. To be honest, it's been a year, or over a year, almost a year and a month, something like that. And I think everybody knows how to act by now. I think businesses know what they want. I think businesses know how to conduct themselves to ensure the safety of their workers and of their customers. So I feel like they should be able to reopen, and they should be able to conduct their businesses at whatever level that they feel comfortable with. I mean, I know personally there's some places that I go and I go, wow, that place is really crowded. I'm not going there. And I think that should be on anybody who goes out to do whatever they feel is safe for them.
Yeah.
If they want to put themselves in a dangerous situation, they can put themselves in a dangerous situation. I'm not going to do that. I feel like most people want it. So.
Okay, I bet one thing that a lot of people.
I feel like we need to reopen because there's a lot of businesses that are hanging on and need revenue.
Yeah.
and the state is not coming to their aid. There's Save Our Storefronts, which is asking for $1 billion in the budget, and it was cut down to like 300 million, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah. One thing that I think a lot of people would appreciate libertarian angle on is that some candidates are talking about mandatory vaccinations as a means to reopen. How do you feel about that?
I'm really against anything being mandatory being put into your body.
I think you have a lot of people that feel the same way. This could be an upset.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you 100% should get vaccinated.
Well, okay, that's
because. But the thing is, the government shouldn't be able to force you to put anything into your body. But as somebody who's running for public office, I would say, please do get vaccinated. You know, I'm going to do it once I can get an appointment. And I know a lot of people who have, and nothing.
Do you have
bad
any
has happened to them.
preference as in terms of which one you're getting? Because I hear some people saying they don't want like the Johnson and Johnson because they can't make baby powder right. You know what I mean? So, yo, that's what people be saying. You know what I mean? So, how do you feel about that? Are you trying to select one or the other, or are you like, yeah?
No, I don't really have. I mean, I had COVID, and it was a miserable, terrible experience.
You know, Pfizer's the OG Trump vaccine, right? Yeah, people they don't want to admit that, but that's really the Trump vaccine.
Right.
That Kamala Harris supposedly is going to shut down. Yeah, okay. Supposedly.
So no,
anyways,
I don't really have a preference.
All right, cool, man. All right, so let's move on to the next topic here. The city does multiple things, and one of them is education. SHSAT is kind of like, on the topic. So, and GNT and just the whole. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I'm not really that well versed in education as I should be right now. It's definitely on my list of things to familiarize myself with. But the thing is, I feel like schools get a lot of funding, and it's something that they don't spend very wisely. I'm in support of the plan of directly funding students and letting them choose which schools they want to attend, giving parents the power to choose what schools they want to attend. That's where I'm at right now. Both my parents are teachers. So, I come from a background of teachers, and I support teachers. And
Interesting.
I think
Interesting. Okay.
Something I hear from teachers is that they want the power to be able to teach the way they want to teach, and that they're kind of being pushed by the state and local people to teach a certain way, just to teach these certain things and to teach them this way. And
okay, when you say you're pro teacher, a lot of assumptions honestly jump to my mind, which
Yeah.
you get to dispel and say true or false. Yeah. So one of them is that, are you UFT guy?
To be honest, when I've heard from them, I'm not a big
Okay, interesting.
UFT guy.
Okay.
They seem to be very. It doesn't
Good
even
to know.
seem like it seems like something that they're a part of.
Okay.
But I'm sure a lot of teachers don't support.
What's your position on charter schools?
To be honest, I support charter schools.
Cool. Okay. Most, because a lot of teachers, like when you hear the word teacher, are usually public teachers, they're usually against charter schools. But that's cool, man.
Right.
I think there could be good and bad charter schools. I think that
Of
people who
course.
say just because it's a charter school, it's automatically bad, that doesn't
Right.
really make a lot of sense to me. So, come on, man. Does that make any sense
Yeah.
to you? Either way, yeah. So that's cool, man. All right. So,
Free market.
yeah.
I think a free market in education is a good thing.
I think most people market themselves as teachers usually actually don't advertise in that particular realm. For me, though, maybe it's just my little corner of the world that I've been secluded in. It's all good, man. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So it's all good. So let's see what other topics. Okay. So let's take a look at public housing. Yeah, that's something big that the city does. What are your thoughts and positions on that?
I mean, I obviously support public housing, because people need houses. There's a lot of problems from what I've read. They just give the contracts to really shitty companies that, don't do the right thing. They don't take care of them. They're poorly funded. But also so basically my policy is not that we should really build more, but we need to just build more housing, period.
Yeah.
So people have a way to get out of public housing, because right now it's either you're in public housing or you're spending way too much on rent. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And there should be an in-between of affordable units for these people, because the minimum for NYCHA housing, last time I checked, is like $66,000. And I think, if you have two people who are making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, you should be able to afford at least a decent apartment. And you shouldn't need public housing.
I understand what you're saying on that. Actually, it's funny because I've been doing like some advocacy for public housing, but then my boy Lewis at Fight for NYCHA just yelled the shit out of me for getting a little part of it wrong. But I still love him to death, and honestly, I'm still learning about it as I go on. So I'm sorry, Lewis. You're right, man. No hating. You know what I mean? Love out to Fight for NYCHA and Melanie and all the people that's working with him. You know what I mean? I'm still learning a lot in that game, man. You know what I mean? And so it's cool, man. I appreciate your angle on the public housing. It's good to know your positions on that. And so about your campaign, right? Yeah, people want to find out about it. Like, actually, there's I think the ballot petitioning is coming up on Tuesday, right, for you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because we weren't able to. Well, we're still waiting to hear from the judge on the ruling about whether we're a party or not, because of Cuomo's sneaky, unfair new law that basically made the thresholds higher for how many votes we need and everything, which he snuck into last year's budget in the middle of a crisis. So we're still waiting to hear back on whether we can get rid of that ruling. The judges could happen anytime now. But yeah.
Let's talk about.
In the meantime, we're petitioning on Tuesday.
That's one of the issues, right? Yeah, they're coming at you guys on another angle as well, right? Yeah, right. The other angle is going to be the number of petitions that you guys have to get signed. Democrats and Republicans only need to get 1.5%, but you guys need to get 2.5%. Yeah, during the COVID crisis. What a bunch of, you know what I mean? And honestly, I'm calling out every single Democrat and Republican right now. If you're willing to let this go, you're whack, and you're allowing unfair conditions to go forward to benefit yourself and your small minority over what's fair and what's right. And how can we trust you in public justice? You should get smacked right now. So it's true. It's true. Yeah. So we're calling you out. You know what I mean? Anyways, so to help against the suppression, because we know it's there, it's obvious. Yeah. On Monday, we're holding a third-party independent ballot petition workshop. Right? Yeah. So you're running for city council, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
District 39.
Yeah, like Park Slope, like that area, right? Yeah. But the thing is that if you got together with like a male candidate like Stacy, and if Stacy comes to like your district, right? Your people in your district, right, might have a reason to come out, yeah? And also Stacy's people come out and you both sign each other's, and then you can have some benefit there. Also, just so you know, the Green Party, I believe, is showing up. And one thing that I would like to see the Libertarian Party show up. And look, there's a whole bunch of independent candidates there, right? Yeah, who could file as either party if they thought that it was in their own interests. And we want to be and the thing is, another thing coming up is that my friend James Roguski and Theo Chino from Rep My Block, yeah, we have this the House of Representatives, right? Because of the census, all the districts are about to change and shuffle up. That means even AOC will no longer be an incumbent. So all of a sudden, everything's up for grabs, boys and girls. So what's up, boy? So the thing is, we're going to actually we want to maintain this network of independence to carry on and go through for a year or two, you know what I mean? And maybe even longer, yeah? And honestly, even though do you know about my work with MPP?
No.
No. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Okay. Well, I'll talk about that. Actually, so I'll just tell you about this right quick. Okay. So I'm really looking for allies here because I was in New York City coordinator for MPP. I still claim that. Okay. Supposedly there's another guy now. Okay. Because I ran the most successful event, in the nation on July 11th when we had the visits to the Congress People's Homes. And mine was the most successful, and I paired up with Yang Gang, but they removed me because I asked for a vote, because the organization is not democratic and it's run by Nick Brana. Have you heard about that? No, we run in different circles. Yeah, you don't watch Jimmy Dore and those guys, right?
I've seen some of their stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really
Jimmy Dore.
Yeah, those are the guys who are talking about that stuff. So he's the one pushing MPP. So, anyways, yeah. So, the thing is that the thing is that it's not democratic. So on the day of their bylaws convention, I'm trying to gather a coalition, right, of different groups, political groups, to just come in, right, and also individuals to come in. And on that day, we can make all the resources and the membership of MPP and share them amongst all the member organizations. You know what I mean? So that's something. And the thing is that I think everybody's going to show up. You know what I mean? The thing is that you don't have to show up if you don't want to, right? Yeah. But then everybody else is going to show up. So you don't want a piece of that pie. You know what I mean? And anyways, it's the People's Party anyway. So you're really just fighting for your own rights. Yeah. So we'll talk about that more. But I would love to get some help on that. Yeah. It's interesting to you, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Look, okay, so yeah, I love that. Okay. So people need to your website, right? How do you advertise your events? What's how can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so I have my website is votematthewmorgan.nyc. I'm really active on Twitter, which is votemorgan39. On Facebook, Vote Matthew Morgan. City Council, Instagram, Vote Matthew Morgan.
Okay, we'll put all the links in the comment below. That's going to be right there for you. Also, we're going to have some more. So one of the things that we're doing is we're having this forum and we're having the debate on Monday, right? Hopefully you can attend and maybe make a presentation for the what is it, the Libertarians?
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's going to really up the ante for the event. You know what I mean? So I'm going to share this with the organizers. This is really exciting. And just so you know, I also have someone named one of the few professors of third parties in the nation, Jonathan Martin. So he's going to actually, after this, we're actually planning on doing a national event with independent and third party candidates. So, right, because we have planning on fencing this off into the whole House of Representatives issue. You get what I mean? So we'll be part of a new network. It's going to be exciting. And Libertarians, you know, are the #1 third party in the nation. Congratulations, sir. Brooklyn also is badass. Hell yes, we're going to do, and Siraj, we about to do big things. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you so much for coming down today. Once again, vote Matthew Morgan. Don't anybody forget. You know what I mean? Not for a second. Yeah. God bless. Thank you.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
The truth of these
we
words
are on all
is
the
beyond
major
doubt.
platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you could hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.